One of the most difficult things that parents sometimes have to face is their child going through some mental health disorder or developmental disorder. For example, ADHD, autism, some learning disability, a mood disorder, etc. See, parenting in itself is a very difficult job, but when you add this to that, it can become absolutely painful and overwhelming. Today, I'll discuss 10 very important principles that you can keep in mind which will really help your parenting. These 10 ideas will help you across multiple types of issues and disorders, and they may even help you in other parenting areas. So let's go. First one is a mental shift. A mental shift that parenting is going to be extra difficult for you. This is something that you just have to accept in advance, that going forward in all those coming years, you simply would have to spend extra energy, time, money in your parenting. There's no way around it. Because if you don't accept that in advance, you'll start to question it every time. Like, why do I have to convince my child for that extra 30 minutes? Why do I have to spend so much money here? Why is this so difficult? There's no point questioning the difficulty after each incident. So accept that in advance. This will help you deal with the whole situation with a much better mindset. It's like you are reducing your benchmark for the expected happiness from your parenting. If you reduce your expectation, you will be less disappointed. Second idea is closely related to the first one. Don't compare your life with other parents. When you go out, meet other parents, see them doing normal things with their children, you see them handling their kids with a lot of ease, you might start to envy those parents. A more mature approach to life is you must accept your fortunes and misfortunes, your good luck and your bad luck. You must take your life as a package. Constantly comparing your bad parts with others' good parts is a recipe for pain and misery. Third principle is again closely related with the second one. Don't compare your child with other children. Now this is a tough one to do because this is how most of the times parents start to convince their children, start to motivate their children to do better. And this is not just for parents who have kids with any mental health disorder. This is for regular parents also. But this takes on another level if the child is going through something really difficult. You continue to compare your child like, why can't you talk like that? Why can't you sit like that? Why can't you behave like that? Why can't you just be normal? For example, let's say if your kid has ADHD, now of course they are going to be very high energy. So instead of just helping the child calm down and actually learn to focus on something, you use tactics like, if your brother can sit calmly, why can't you? This type of comparison is terrible. Avoid that at all costs. There are much better ways to motivate your child, which brings us to the fourth point. Have a forward-looking and solution-oriented approach, which means instead of taking a comparing or blaming tone or approach, you must talk to your child like, okay, where do we go from here? How do we make it better? You look into the future. If your child has not done the homework well, if your child is not doing well in school, you talk about, okay, where do we go from here? How can you behave differently tomorrow? This forward-looking approach is very important because it prevents you from going into the past and just blaming yourself for somebody else. Like, what did I do? Like, what have I done wrong? Why did this happen to me? Why did I have to have a child like that? You go into those whys and there are no answers to those whys because your child getting this mental health disorder is completely out of your control and your child's control. It was just part of your luck. So instead of asking why it happened, focus on where can you go from here. Use your problem solving skills to try to solve every small thing. And if you do that continuously for a few years, you can see a lot of difference in your child and in your household. Now let's come to the difficult part. Fifth point is you have to understand other people's ignorance. Other people will show ignorance in many ways, like they will start to judge your parenting. So whenever they start to judge you, you have to remember that it's not exactly because they're against you or something. It's simply that they don't understand the situation. They don't really understand the nitty-gritty of the mental health disorder, like what has happened, why it happened. Some people lack not only understanding but also compassion for your difficulty. Like instead of sympathizing with you, they will actually judge you. So their judgment or lack of sympathy reflects poorly on them, not on you. Remember that. Another thing, people will gossip. Of course, they will gossip. Like behind your back, they will talk about you or your children. Accept that in advance. Gossiping is the most natural thing in the society. It will always happen. You cannot shut people's mouths. Like even if you are like in a public place, you are eating at a restaurant and people see your child behave in an odd manner, they will start gossiping like, oh, look at that. You can feel it, like they're staring at your child, they're giving you those looks and then they're laughing at you or just gossiping about you. For that, simply remember that you also gossip about people all the time, just on different issues. So let people talk and gossip, it's their right. Gossip is just another word for sharing your opinions privately because you're too awkward to share it publicly. Another thing people will do is they might give you idiotic suggestions about what to do. Like again, they're not counselors, they're not doctors, but they'll still come in and give you random suggestions. They will give you Ayurvedic recipes, they will tell you that you should be very strict with your child. They might say things like send your child to boarding school. They may give you some random cliched advice which you have heard probably 100 times before. Again, even in this case, if you get some good advice once in a while, take it. Otherwise, just remember that they're not experts. They are sometimes genuinely trying to help you. They just don't know how to. Most of the times when people give suggestions, they do mean well. They do want to help you. So don't get irritated at them. Don't get into defending yourself too much. Don't try to start proving them wrong that your advice is stupid or wrong. It's not on you. I mean, let them think whatever they want. You just listen to them and move on. If it's useful, use it. Otherwise, reject it. And you have to do all of this for your child too, which is when you talk to your child, make sure that the child does not get a very negative picture of the world, that the whole world is just judgmental, cold, idiotic or something. Help your child also understand the idiotic behaviors of others, because if your child also grows up with too much negativity for others, it's not good for their mental health, because they have to survive in this world only. So first you understand others, then help your child understand others. Sixth point, be prepared that your child may struggle socially. Whenever a child is different in any way or form, they can get joked at, they can get secluded, other kids may even take advantage of them, they can even bully them. Yeah, children can be brutal to one another. So it may break your heart when you see your child struggling, not being able to make any friends. But again, you have to follow that solution, which is forward-looking and solution-oriented. And what is the solution here? You have to focus on micro-social skills here. Let's say your child gets too aggressive with others. Now what you would need to do is you would have to sit down with the child after each anger episode and help them process the emotions. What happened? Why did they get angry? What were the triggers? And how can they deal with those triggers differently next time? This exercise has to be done repeatedly. Now I know parents are also busy. They can't take out time for every small thing in life and just sit down and reflect on it and communicate. No, that's really not possible in day-to-day life. So that's why you have to pick the most important issues. And social skills is a very important issue. So whenever your child does something off, wrong, or problematic socially, do sit down with them and actually talk about it. You would have to teach your child how to talk, how to listen, how to forgive others, how to say please, thank you, how to share things, how to ask questions, how to prioritize their friendship over, let's say, winning or something else. Things that just seem obvious to you are not obvious to the child. So you would have to break down every small thing into micro skills. Then you have to be there for the child as they practice those skills. And this would require a lot of patience on your side, because you won't see results quickly. It may take months and years, but don't lose focus, because this is important. Seventh, make sure whenever you are making goals with your child, they are realistic in nature. Because if your child is going through any kind of disorder, their development in some area could be delayed. So let's say your child is just scoring 50 or 60% marks. You can't just hope that, okay, no, I just want 90. You have to be realistic. Let's say every other kid in the school takes part in sports activities, but your child doesn't. So don't expect that your child would just enter the sports and become one of the best players there. Like, have realistic goals. The realistic goal here would be just maybe participation in one tournament. I know every parent has their own dreams and expectations from the child. They want to see their child succeed, they want to see their child be happy and even be at the top. But you will have to let go of those dreams, keep them aside, and be realistic about where the child can reach. And this also becomes important when you talk to the child. So the child should also get a very realistic picture in their mind about where do they have to reach or where they can reach. If the child is at 2 and your expectation is at 8, the child will also feel very helpless. Okay, I can't reach 8. And don't give them any false hope or delusional positivity. Like, you just do this and in 3 years you'll be better than everybody else. I mean, yes, that may make them happy for a while, but ultimately the reality will hit and they will get disappointed. So as a family, whenever you sit down and talk about future, be realistic. 8, still be grateful. Yes, your child is going through something difficult, a mental health disorder, but please remember, it could have been worse also. Their disorder could have been much more severe. Your child is still alive and with you. There are people who don't even have children, and even in your journey with your child, it's not all bad, right? Like, of course there are moments where you are able to talk to the child, enjoy your time with them, laugh together, go out and do things with them. Never forget those good parts also. Like, a very important formula for life is internally keep your major attention on the good part and become forward-looking and solution-oriented for the bad parts. Because the thing is, if you only concern yourself with the problems, like how to solve it, how to get it better and better and better, ultimately you will tap out inside. You will burn out. Your life will just become solving one problem after another after another. That doesn't sound like a good life. So it's important to be able to focus and savor and relish the good parts. Actually take them in. Keep them in your conscious mind. Ninth point, this is very important. Please remember, your frustration and anger with the child doesn't teach them anything. Now let's say because of ADHD, your child is unable to focus on studies and you're getting constant complaints from the school. Teachers are schooling you, like, what are you doing with your child? Like, fix your child, otherwise we'll remove your child from the school. So when you as a parent are in the middle of this, where your child is not listening to you, not focusing on anything, and the school is being so strict and running after you, this can get very, very frustrating. It can make you so angry. Now, if you take that anger out on your child, please remember, that does not teach your child anything. If you're trying to coach your child, raising your voice won't make your coaching better. If you're trying to motivate your child, berating them, criticizing them, or beating them, that won't really add to any motivation. In fact, your frustration and anger and all this negativity can actually hurt the process. The child may shut down, get depressed, get more anxious, or may even rebel. So basically, when you're trying to change your child, force won't work. Like parents often say, because you don't listen to me, that's why I have to shout. Please remember, the child does not have a hearing problem. The problem is that whatever you have explained to them is not detailed enough for the child or is not logical enough for the child. So work on your argument, work on your communication, not on your volume. If you can't control your anger or frustration, go talk to a counselor. Don't take it out on your child. 10th and final point, very, very important. Remember to always accept your child no matter who they are, how they are. Despite all the struggles and difficulties and weaknesses of your child, accept them fully. If you don't accept your child, not only will you be unhappy, you will definitely ruin your relationship with your child. You have to make peace with that paradox, which is accept first, then work on changing. Like acceptance does not mean that now you can't change your child. No, this is the amazing paradox, which is you first start with acceptance. Okay, whoever you are, even if you don't change, I like you, I'm proud of you, I love you fully. Now once you achieve that mental state, then you think about, okay, where can we go from here? How can we improve? And this improvement is not because you were unhappy with the child. This improvement is because your child can achieve higher well-being. Your push for improvement must not come from dissatisfaction, but it must come from desires to improve and work towards happiness and well-being. And both of those are very different approaches. Other than those 10 things, of course, if things are very severe, do seek professional help. Take therapy from psychologists, or in severe cases, you may need to go to a psychiatrist for medication. And depending on what the disorder is, you may have to go for things like special education, occupational therapy, etc. The field of psychology has made great advancements in handling those disorders. So don't just rely on your instincts or your old school parenting style that you learned from your parents to fix everything. Do take professional help. If you're looking for other videos on parenting, I have created this playlist. You can watch it here. Link is also in the description. Shridhar Lifeschool is a team of psychologists who specialize in counseling. If you're going through very difficult times or you want to achieve higher well-being, we offer one-on-one counseling for individuals, couples, parents, and their children. To book sessions, go to our website shridharlifeschool.com.